Ready. Play.
But we did have a pretty interesting poll, right, that we can talk about. I don't know if you already mentioned that or not. I don't know which
No, actually.
options were obviously presented in the poll, but of course there are more or less 14 options anyway. Well, not even more or less, exactly, since we are talking about which Rafa title at Roland Garros was the most impressive. And I actually have an answer that is not even part of the poll. So,
Okay.
first of all, Vansh, what is your idea on this?
Well, I guess I'm very mainstream because I immediately was thinking 2022, only because of the doubts that he had coming in, and that he couldn't really walk against Shapovalov, and then also he was getting injections before every match, basically, pretty much during the fortnight, and then he beat Djokovic. He survived that physical war against Zverev. He crushed Ruud in the final. Even 5 sets against Felix. So there were a lot of moments where he other mortal athletes would not have won that tournament. So for me, that's maybe the most impressive because for the first time he was in a dominant period in a dominant season where he was getting by these matches and just kind of on his last leg. So for me, that's probably the one. I also thought of maybe 2013, but I couldn't really, just maybe with the injury in 2012 and then also the match with Djokovic, and then all the others to me are kind of more one-sided. I guess there's an argument for 2005, 2008 was there, but yeah, I want to hear yours now.
2011, I wanted to go for,
Okay.
which is pretty funny. Isner 5-setter in the opening round. That happens so rarely to Rafa to even go more than 3 sets in the opening round. And then I think it's also the best match that Federer played against him at Roland Garros, and he miraculously wins the opening set from 2-5 and set point down, and obviously wins the match in 4. But yeah, I mean, it's one of the potential options. 13, I guess, was also pretty nice in the fact that the first 2 rounds he loses sets to players that usually in Roland Garros he just completely dominates, and then he plays himself into the event. But the final against Ferrer kind of takes it, takes some magic away from me. I think 2000 for me. Also 2017, that was another one where he was just barely dropping any points games. I guess we had 2 very dominant slam runs that year, one from Roger and one from Rafa. And they were both impressive in how dominant they were. Obviously didn't drop a set, but also the competition wasn't at at its strongest right there. So I guess I see that argument too. But yeah, I mean the one in 2022, just because of what was happening to him during the warm-up swing, also some of the matches he played along the way. Zverev, if he doesn't twist his ankle, who knows? But yeah, I mean, maybe this is also another one that just kind of the fact that the final was so forgettable takes a little magic away from that. But yeah, I mean, obviously there are a few options. The ones from the 2000s, I mean, to me, they kind of blend together in many ways. You've got 4 in a row. Every single time there's pretty much just one memorable match, and that's against Federer for one reason or another, because in 2008 it's memorable for being so short. I guess there's the Mathieu 2006 clash. There's probably a few others, but they do kind of blend together for me, which is also because I wasn't following them live at the time.
Yeah, interesting. As you were talking, I kind of just realized there's probably one underrated RG that he won, which is 2014. Because coming into that clay swing, throughout the whole clay swing, he wasn't that dominant. He lost to Almagro in Barcelona. He lost to Ferrer in Monte Carlo, who he pretty much never loses to. And then in Madrid, he was kind of lucky to beat Nishikori in the final. And then he loses to Djokovic in Rome. By that time, he started to get his level back. But coming in, there was some doubts, also because he had injured his back in Australia, and some of that 2013, he wasn't playing at the same level that he was in 2013, for sure. And it was kind of the last.
I mean that's true, but that's just one match against Novak, right? That is.
And then also the quarterfinals, I think he struggled with Ferrer for about 2 sets.
Yeah, but
finally he then he ran away with it, and then he had the one-sided match against Murray. But then the first 2 sets against Djokovic were also kind of up in the balance. He started not feeling that great towards the end of the fourth, So there was a little bit of drama, at least in that tournament and run. Like, it wasn't a foregone conclusion. I think many people were actually picking Djokovic to win it that year, whereas I don't think that was the case in 13 or 12 or maybe in 11. Maybe some people were picking Djokovic.
Oh, 11, Novak was definitely the favorite going into the French.
Yeah.
I mean, he had just defeated Rafa a couple of times on clay and was on that incredible win streak. But of course, we didn't get that showdown in the end, so that's also kind
But
of
I think that's probably one campaign that doesn't get as much talk, I would say.
Sure. I don't hate that at all. I think kind of similar, like the ones from the 2000s blend together for me. There's also the latter patch of like 17 to 20, when again, I don't feel like it was the strongest competition, really. Dominic Thiem was the second best player in the world, really, on clay at the time. And he could only go like, 2 sets with Rafa in one of the finals at like full intensity.
Yeah.
So these I would kind of also just not really like include. And probably for me, the answer would be either, the last one or one of these more, early 2000s vibes. Is that all we have to say right now on the Rafa farewell?
Yeah. Anything else to add about the ceremony from your point of view? I mean, you didn't really watch it, but
I didn't watch, like, I saw photos from it, so
yeah.
I mean, I was just focused on the tennis. I watched that Tsonga retirement ceremony, I remember, because it was right after the match.
Yeah.
But here, because it was just like, I would actually have to turn it on, make the effort. No, I wasn't really ready to do that. If it was right after the Zverev match last year, I probably would have watched it,
Yeah.
But then again, they weren't ready with it. With Tsonga, they were expecting that he's probably going to lose to Kasper, right? Whereas with Rafa, I suppose they had to be like, oh, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, really. So,
if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Il est resté épisodiquement 209 semaines. Il avait remporté son premier tournoi à Sopot en 2004. Il en a remporté 90 autres depuis, dont 21 en Grand Chelem. 2 à l'Open d'Australie, 2 à Wimbledon, 4 à l'US Open et Roland Garros, bien sûr, en 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2010, 2011.